We're going slowly through Psalm 84. And yesterday we read, "Blessed are they that dwell in thy house." Let's read from the beginning of the verse. "How amiable are thy tabernacles, how lovable are thy dwelling where God is." Okay. "O Lord of hosts, commander of heaven's army, my soul longeth, yea, even fainteth for the courts of the Lord." I'm craving, he said. I can't get there, but I want to be there. Ancient Israelite would have been thinking about the temple grounds, the presence of God, around God's people, the feasts, the celebrations that I've talked so much to you about. "My heart and my flesh crieth out for the living God. Yea, the sparrow hath found a house, the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young. Even thine altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God." Even the birds can make nests in the courtyard of the temple. He's kind of thinking, I wish I was one of those birds. "Blessed are they that dwell in thine house, for they will be still praising thee." Someone that's in the presence of God has a perpetual reason to celebrate, okay? "Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee." So now 2 verses in a row, he's used this word blessed, which we talked about yesterday, a kind of joy and strength and durability and delight, a kind of celebratory spirit that transcends circumstances and transcends emotions. It's not just an attitude adjustment. It is a deep quality of heart. And I guess I just want to insert here, friend, that if you have a perpetual tendency to murmur, to gripe, to complain, that is just not the Spirit of God, okay? And I realize life has a lot of burdens, but we are called to celebrate who we are, where we're going, and what God is doing until we get there. And so, blessed is the man whose strength is in thee. Strength, his force, his security, boldness, his might, his power. This is the man who's not just in God's presence, but he's anchored himself in dependence on God. He's relying upon God. He doesn't see his career or his own intellect or his own gifts and abilities as his strength. He sees God as his strength. And you see, that's a man who's never going to lose his true strength. I can lose my health. I can lose my mind. I can lose my abilities or my opportunities. I can lose my money. I can lose my career. I can lose my job. But if God is my strength, I can never lose my strength. I can never lose God. His strength is in thee. And then this is an interesting phrase. "In whose heart are the ways of them." Okay. Of them was added by the translators to give clarity to the context. In whose heart are the ways of them? What he's referring to, again, is those that are on their way to the temple to feast, to celebrate. And he's not able to be there or be a part of the journey. And he's kind of vicariously celebrating with them. I wish I was there walking those ways. And he's imagining in his mind the journey from wherever he lives to Jerusalem. And we'll see that in a second. He's imagining the paths, the ways, the steps even that lead up to the hill, to the Temple Mount. Blessed is the man in whose heart is taking that journey, okay? And all he's saying, a modern 21st century application of this would be, blessed is the man, not only who's enjoying and practicing God's presence, but blessed is the man who's journeying this pilgrimage called life, walking through life with God, journeying to God, okay? And that's the life of a Christian. That's the life of a believer. We are on a pilgrimage, journeying to our own ultimate eternal Jerusalem in the presence of God. So that journey, whoever's on that journey with God, that's a blessed journey, all right? That's a journey of great joy and great celebration. Look at verse 6. Who passing through the Valley of Baka. Now, the Valley of Baka, the word Baka means weeping, okay? It means sorrow. So there's this question, is this a metaphor or is this a place? Most people believe this would have been a place, not really sure where it is, but it's probably a place that was on the way from this man's location to Jerusalem. So the Valley of Baka, it's reminiscent a little bit of Psalm 23. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. That is a very specific valley, journeying from Jericho up to Jerusalem through the mountains. It's a winding, arduous climb in a very narrow canyon with lots of places of danger. Animals could hunt there and lurk there. Thieves and criminals could lurk there. And so journeying from Jericho to Jerusalem was a precarious journey, especially if you were alone. It's the road that people bring to mind when they are talking about the Good Samaritan, the story of the Good Samaritan, okay? Lots of places for a criminal to hide and ambush a lone traveler or a small group of travelers. During the pilgrimage season, they traveled in large groups. They traveled in entire families, and villages would go, which obviously was safer. Which, by the way, that's a great lesson. Don't go through your Christian journey alone. You're very vulnerable when you go solo, okay? The Christian journey, now there's health and there's different reasons, I understand that. But the Christian journey was designed to be done, it's a team journey, it's a family journey. It's designed to be done in community. We need each other. I need you, okay? We need to make the journey together. We're safer together. We encourage one another. A threefold cord is not easily broken. We worship together. We strengthen each other. The vitality of group assembly and worship is a wonderful thing. I'm not hinting or pressing you to come to church. You wait until the health, it's all safe. I get that. But generally, we're designed to travel in journeys, but together in groups. But in this verse 6, who passing through the Valley of Baka, probably a very particular location called the Valley of Weeping. Maybe some event, maybe some past battle or some loss happened there that gave it the moniker the Valley of Weeping. But also, for sure, a metaphor in the psalm of a journey that includes grief, includes sorrow, the valley of the shadow of death. Who passing through the Valley of Baka, make it a well. Okay, now stop and think about this. Number one, it's a decision. He's saying this traveler, this pilgrimage, this person, when they get to this well, they stop and they leverage that valley. Not this well, this valley, this sorrow. When they get to this place of sorrow, they draw resources from it. They turn it into a well. And he says, the rain also filleth the pools. So the Valley of Sorrow is a place where you can dig a well and find water. It's also a place where if it's raining, you can find water. Now, why is that significant? Well, again, if you've ever visited Israel, or if you ever want to, come with me. We'll take you from Nazareth to Jericho and up to Jerusalem. And you'll get a sense that walking that journey on foot, 90 plus miles, in desert temperatures and a dusty gravel path, up and down pretty arduous inclines and declines, you would have had the idea that there would have needed to be some resource stops along the way, okay? Some water stops, some refueling, places to stop and eat, places to gather water, and some of those regions, the water spots were pretty few and far between. And so what he's recounting is the pilgrimage to Jerusalem involves some journey through sorrow. But when you go through those places, that's the places where you draw the most resources. That's the places where your strength is realized. That's the places where you refill up with what you're going to need going forward. It's such a beautiful picture that when you are going through hardship, God is preparing you to be a better steward of future opportunities, bigger blessings. He's broadening your shoulders to carry bigger blessings. He's filling your pack with resources you're going to need down the road to maybe supply for others. He is doing a great work in you that's getting ready for a future fruitfulness in your life. So the Valley of Baka is a waterful place. It's a raining, resourced place, which means, by the way, when you're planted by rivers of water, it means there's fruitfulness coming, okay? Water energizes, strengthens, renews, and brings life. So sad places, sorrowful places are temporary places. You go through them. You don't camp and stay there. You go through them to Jerusalem. And that is our journey. Every one of our sorrowful places we're going through. Okay, we're not stopping there. But what pause there is, what momentary place there is, we draw resources from God, strength, and we fill up on what we're going to need for the next step of the journey. God uses times of sorrow to prepare us for future times of blessing. So if you're experiencing a time of sorrow right now, take hope. Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, in whose heart are the ways to God. Your heart's there, you're going on that way, and you're passing through the valley of sorrow, weeping, but you're making it a well. And you're going to draw water from the pools, from the rain. Just like spring in Connecticut, we just draw water. You rained on perpetually. But then it provides what? A beautiful summer and a beautiful fall, doesn't it? And great harvest. So resources for a future season in life. And then verse 7, and I'll stop. They go from strength to strength. Every one of them in Zion appeareth before God. They go from strength to strength. So God gives you enough strength for right now and for the next leg of your journey. Don't worry about needing strength for tomorrow or the next day or the next month or next year. You need the strength God's given you for the moment he's called you to. So you have strength today. And this is the way it works. Just like on the journey to Jerusalem, they would go from one pool to the next spring, to the next place of water, and they would refill, and journey in between. And they had mapped out their stops to get water, to refuel, to fill up. So God's taking you on a pilgrimage, and you're going he gives you strength, and he says, now take the next journey. And then he gives you strength, and he says, now take the next journey. And you go from strength to strength to strength. And then he says, every one of them in Zion. So what is Zion? Zion is a mountain in Jerusalem, okay? I say mountain, it's more like a big hill, okay? It's not an American idea of a mountain. It's hills. Zion, Moriah, Mount of Olives, and others. And they're all right together. You can walk from Mount Zion to Mount Moriah, where the Temple Mount is, in 15 minutes. And you can walk from Temple Mount, Mount Moriah, to Mount of Olives in 10 minutes. They're all right there. So but here's what he's saying. They go from strength to strength, one pool, to the next well, to the next spring, day to day, week to week. They go from strength to strength until every one of them arrives in Zion. Zion is that mount. Coming into Jerusalem, they would have seen Zion, and then they would have seen Mount Moriah, the temple. Every one of them in Zion appeareth before God. All he's saying is, whoever places their trust in God takes a long journey with God, longing for him, crying out for him, wishing they could be with him, wishing all of our problems would go away, wishing it could be a forever feast in Jerusalem in the presence of God. But until that happens, we're still praising him because we're blessed. We are finding strength in him, and we're on this journey, and sometimes we're going through the valley of sorrow, valley of weeping. But no matter where we are, God's given us water. God's filling us up from the pools and the rain and the springs. And we go from strength to strength to strength. And one day we arrive in Zion. And the psalmist is just celebrating not only the pilgrimage of an Israelite to Jerusalem to worship, but our pilgrimage through life. And that's really the broader view, is that God's going to here it is. You're in good hands, okay? And God's going to get you where he wants you. He's going to get you there. He's taking you all the way home. He's not going to drop you. You're not going to fall through the cracks. He's not going to forget about you. A lot of uncertainties in life. One thing is certain. God's going to get you all the way home. And so I wish you a good Friday, friends. I hope you will celebrate him. I hope you will make your moment of sorrow a well and let God fill up the pools with rainwater to flourish your life with fruitfulness in a coming season.